Welcome to another edition of the Motors Mouth podcast, and this is the big one. We've gone big this time, haven't we, Steve?
Big, all out.
This is the season review for 2022-23, and if I remember rightly, something quite significant happened in the season. Vauxhall Motors Premier Division champions.
Premier Division champions, yeah.
Sounds good, doesn't it? And of course, this season review is brought to you by Baltic Apprenticeships. Let's cast our minds back, Steve, only just to the final game of the season, that trophy lift away at West Didsbury and Chorlton. It was a really special day for the club, for everyone involved with the club, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? And we said on Saturday that it couldn't have happened in a better place apart from at home. Credit to West Didsbury and Chorlton staff, fans, players, really respectful. Made the day great. I mean, I think I looked yesterday, it was like 1,300.
Yeah, it was a great crowd, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was like family days out and people walking the dogs and students all having a bevy, and you know, it was like a charity match type of feel, wasn't it? But yeah, great day. Sun come out and it's finally get the hands on our big ears here. Topped off with a great season.
Now, it's usually at this point in the show where I ask you if you've got a particular highlight of the month. In this occasion, it would be the season, but it's really hard to look past that day when the trophy lift was done.
Yeah.
And we were doing a piece to camera that should have lasted a minute, and it ended up lasting 13 because we kept on getting like impromptu guests.
But it was very similar to like when you see on Sky Sports and like someone wins a cup and very impromptu, and people just coming up and just jumping on and having a laugh and getting swilled with lager, which is still down the top.
Yeah, I think I'm still covered in beer and champagne.
Yeah, I watched it back last night, and it was a really, really good footage, and just showed, you know, emotions coming out, and topped a great day.
And we'll touch on it a little bit later on, but we felt a real integral part of that, didn't we? We were right in the trenches, and that's been the story of the season, that relationship between everyone at the club growing.
As the season's gone on, we've felt more and more involved, haven't we? It's a relatively new thing this season, what we've done. But as the season's gone on, it's we've got to know the players more, we've got to know the committee more, we've got to know the management team more. Everyone's bought into it, what we're trying to do, you know, increase the profile of the club. And yeah, it's just we really felt part of it, and Mick said that at the end of the game to me, get in the dressing room, get a bevy, you know, everyone's cheering, you know, to see, I didn't think I'd see them scenes again, you know, after stopping playing 20 or 15 years ago, but it was great to, brought back a few memories, but it was great to be part of it.
And as you can see, we have got the trophy as our special guest today. But believe it or not, the season started all the way back in July. Seems like such a long time ago now.
You know what, I was only thinking, it seems like yesterday though, that we were doing the first podcast.
Yeah.
On the pitch, and we've done it in the dugouts, didn't we? And it seems so long back, but it's gone so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's flown over, but you know, that was what, 9 months ago. Probably mid-July we done that, wasn't it? And yeah, it's flown over.
So last season, well, the previous season, Vauxhall Motors finished 8th in the Premier Division table. A strong showing, but they were looking to build upon that 8th place finish. As I said, the league started on the 30th of July, and the Motors couldn't have got off to a better start. From July into August, 7 league wins out of 7, scoring 18, only 4 conceded. That run really set the team up, didn't it, for the rest of the season?
Yeah. You know.
I should just add, all of those games were played at home.
How do you wear? Well,
according to other members of
popular opinion from
other clubs,
certain teams. Yeah, and so do some sticky ones in there as well. You remember going to Lower Brecon, we 1-0 down, and you know, we pulled it round, and you sort of got a sense there, you know, something's a bit different this season, because I think last season we would have lost that game. Earnham away, but it was like 35 degrees. Great team performance again. You just have a little something's brewing here. Something's a bit different to last season.
And Mick spoke to us very early on. He was crediting his assistant coach Joe Heath for implementing a fitness program that really told towards the end of games, especially in that early part of the season when the temperatures were high.
Well, I know the first session I was over here and he'd done a bleep test, so that just sets the stall out. We're gonna see where you are fitness wise, and we're gonna, if you're not up to scratch, you're gonna get put up to scratch. So they set the stall out. It was game on from the first training session. You could see the intensity there, and that's just credit to Mick McGrath and his team.
So many wonderful highlights already at that point in the season, but there was one game in particular that really stood out to us, to fans, and even amongst the players. It was a home game against Winterford United. Winterford United went 2-0 up in the first half, but as you said, there was a feeling that there was something different, and a comeback inspired by Lewis Buckley and Bobby McDonnell was then
topped off
by a terrific goal in the 96th minute or something it was from Michael Berkey. Did that game feel like, as you said, there was something different, but also meant that Vauxhall were a real deal in this league and for the title chase?
Yeah, I think so, because when you see teams, you'll see like the great Man United, Liverpool and City, great teams. They'll play until the very last kick of the game. And you see a lot of these teams, Man United were renowned for it, weren't they, in the 90s, 2000s. Last minute goal, Fergie time and all that. But it's just played to the death, and just the belief to just keep churning away. And there was a moment of magic from Michael Berkey to win us the game. But I think he said at the time, last season we would have lost that game as well, similar to what I said about Lower Breck. And I don't think we played bad first half, did we?
Winsford's two quick fire goals.
He hit us twice on the break, and I know we had a change in goal. Damon wanted to come in because I think it was James McLennan at the time was injured against Alderman the week before, so we had a change of goalie. But yeah, second half, I don't think they got out there after. We were just relentless. I remember I was sat with Lucas Allen's dad in the stand, and he went, "Get one here, they'll get three." And that was like 2 minutes before we scored. And he was spot on. Got one back, and it was just like backs to the walls for them. It was just constant pressure, which eventually told.
So that 100% record from July into August put the Motors at the top of the table with a 100% record. And now that leads us into a nice little feature that we've got for this end of season review. Believe it or not, we have our own awards, and we're going to kick off the Player of the Year award contenders with a player. But first, a little story about our awards. You were very passionate about this, the Player of the Year award for the Motormouth podcast, named after a hugely influential figure at this club, Alan Bartlam.
Yeah, so Alan Bartlam sadly passed away, I think it was about 18 months ago now, wasn't it? So Alan was here when I played late 90s, kept in touch with him throughout the years, and he was the one who got me back involved at Vauxhall about 4 years ago, when I came over for the 20th anniversary of Mark Pearson dying. He was a former teammate on the pitch with us, and me and Alan were just having a walk around, and he said, I said, well, I'd love to get back involved, and he said, come over, help out. Great fella, lovely fella. Worked various jobs at Vauxhall, sadly lost his battle with cancer. So I thought it was only fitting that we try and remember his name by naming the player of the season after him. So I spoke to Helena's wife, and she was made up with the idea. Just wanted to get their approval. So that's where I just wanted to put something in his memory, really.
A worthy reason, if I do say so myself. So let's have a look at the first contender of the Alan Bartlam Player of the Year award, and that is Lewis Buckley. Lewis Buckley then, just got some stats for you.
Yeah.
9 goals in 9 games in all competitions in August. He actually received the North West Counties Football League Player of the Month for August for the Premier Division. 24 goals in 44 games in the season. What a signing he's been. He's fixed, or he has been the reason why so many goals have been scored, and he's fixed the striker problem that we had last season.
Yeah, you look at no disrespect to the players we had last season, but he's just got that presence up front, hasn't he? And he's experienced. While the old Fox, and he's got so much to his game. He holds the ball up well. He can finish. He can finish first time. He just go with his head, either foot. You can tell he's been around, and he's just he's from day one brilliant.
Now 24 goals, he'll be fancying his chances of getting the Player of the Season award, and we'll see how he fares later on. So into September then. First drop points for Vauxhall, 0-0 at home to Longridge Town. But that's still quite the run to go on before dropping your first points.
It's one of them. The longer these runs go on, it's going to come to an end sooner or later. I think was it 0-0, was it?
0-0 at home to Longridge,
0-0 at home. I vaguely remember the game. I think we done okay. We weren't brilliant. We weren't poor. But I think it's important them games, you don't lose them. So you just got to focus. If you don't win the game, don't take something out of it, take a point out of it, take a clean sheet out of it. That's what they done that day.
And that's not to say it wasn't a profitable month for Vauxhall. That one draw was added to 4 league wins, scoring 9 and only conceding 2. So they were still building that momentum going into the wintry months of the season.
These are the home as well?
All at home, apparently, yes. There was one game that will have stuck out in September, and that was the FA Vars second qualifying round at home to Emley AFC. Now, it was a crazy day here at the Van Eupen Arena. There were pre-match monsoons. I think there was a riot on the pitch just before half-time. Michael Berkey scored a fantastic free kick. Emley equalised and went on to win the game on penalties, and that'll be the one disappointment of this season, I would say. The cup runs that we've been in. So we've been in the FA Cup, the FA Vars, Macron Cup, Cheshire Senior Cup. Those cup runs, on reflection, were the one disappointing part of the season.
The FA Cup is one that you're not going to win, but you can make a few quid, make a few friends along the way. Went out very early in that. Which we're going to away into because we played Thursday
and then Saturday,
it was like less than 48 hours, wasn't it, since we played again. The Vars, you can go on the run. More than capable of winning it. Got to the semi-final, so if the draws are kind here, we should have gone a long way. The Emley game, we started off okay. I think, did we ever miss a penalty as well in that?
We took the lead through his free kick.
Sure, we missed a penalty late on. Might be wrong, but they equalised with a, personally, I think James McClanahan should have come and took the cross, and the back post header, 3 yards out, 1-1, and penalty shootout. So we've probably got a worse record than England, haven't we? So this season, enough said on that.
So 2 questions I've got for you on that. Firstly, you just referenced it. Going out on penalties in 3 separate cup competitions and virtually all the same score and method of going out. There was 2 slip penalty or penalties that were missed through a slip. Does that make it even more disappointing going out in that fashion?
It's not a nice way to go out, but did we do enough to win them games in 90 minutes? Probably no. Look, if you would have said at the start of the season you win the league and you go to the cups, everyone would have snapped their hands off. So it is what it is. The Vars, like I say, it's a nice competition. You can go far. You can, nice away trips and overnighters and stuff like that. But it just meant to be. And like I say, got this sitting next to us here, which is more than made up for going out in these cups.
So that brings me on to my second question about the cup runs. Has what we've seen from the likes of Congleton Town and Bury AFC and the fixture congestion that's caused, has that been a bit of a plus in Vauxhall season.
It's certainly, you know, we haven't had as many midweek games. I mean, I think the Bury fixture pile up is because Radcliffe Butter's pitch just likes to hold water.
And those two teams met in the quarter-final last competition too.
Yeah, so it probably does take a bit of focus away, especially you get to the, you know, the nitty-gritty and last 16, last 8. You might put your eggs in that basket because there's a trip to Wembley at stake and a National Cup competition. But like I say, I'll just go back again. That's your bread and butter. That's what you want to win. That's what you set the season out for, isn't it? The start of the season. So to bring that home, not bothered. Not bothered at all.
And just a note on that, Congleton's progression in all the competitions meant they had to play like 5 games in the space of 10 days at the back end of the season. So fair play to them for doing it, but you can see why not having that fixing congestion.
Especially Bury, you can see Bury blew up, but like I say, I think that was more down to Radcliffe's pitch, but the league like to play where they want anyway, so it is what it is.
So moving on from that, minor disappointments in the season, we go into October. First loss came in October away at Charnock Richard.
Yeah.
Like I said with the draw with Longridge though, that's some going, making it all the way into October at the 25th, near enough the end of the month, and only registering your first defeat in the league.
Yeah, but do you know what? The Charnock game, they got an early goal from minute 1. He just looked like he wanted it more. I don't know whether it was just tiredness was starting to kick, and I don't know, but we certainly weren't at the races that day.
It was a Tuesday night, wasn't it?
Tuesday night. I think it was starting to get cold. But yeah, I remember they scored early on, and then they scored a great goal. Second one, it was like a whipped in cross, like he dug it out. A great header in the far top corner, but it was going. Like I say, it was always going to come. You're always going to get it. You're always going to get it. You're not Sunday League football. You're not going to go all season winning 13-0 every game. So, but it was, I think it was just a manner that it just made a great performance. But you know, there's more than enough credit in the bank for the previous 10-11 games anyway. So
that's not to say that going to Mossy Park on a Tuesday night against Charnock Richard is an easy game. Charnock Richard are a tough proposition at their own ground.
Yeah, well, they've got Grimmy up front, haven't he? Similar to Lewis Buckley's been around. He knows the dance, and he causes problems every time I've seen him. Grimshaw's caused major problems, and he's packed in now, hasn't he? Or he's left. He's left Charnock.
Yeah, he's played over 500 games, was it?
Yeah. So he's always going to cause you problems. Like Pope at Congleton, they cause you problems. Just the experience and the physiques and that. But yeah, we just, you know what? It was a loss. It went great. Moved on, and I think that's the important thing as well this season. When we have had a loss, we've regrouped and regathered and gone again. It's never really affected us where we've gone like on a 4 or 5 losing streak. We've always bounced back sooner rather than later.
Now, October was a hugely significant season for us personally, because at that point I went off ill for the next 3 months
with a cold,
and avoided all the wintry months of the season
with a cold.
You took up the reins of our match day coverage,
and
I think you should give yourself a bit more credit. You said to me recently that you stopped the ship from sinking, but you took the reins and kept that ship on sailing. How did you find it?
Yeah, the first couple you're a bit like doing it right and saying the right things and all that, but you know, it's just I don't look. I joke around and say, you know, the cold. You were seriously out. Great to see you back on the mend and that. But no, I enjoyed it. Just got to make sure you get your questions to Mick McGrath, right? Because we know he's slated a few that have asked him questions. So just got to make sure you weigh your questions like a bit.
That comes with experience.
But no, yeah, I enjoyed it. And, you know, thank you for the kind words. And yeah, it was just you have to keep the ship sailing, didn't we? So it was, yeah.
Now, one game that I was desperately annoyed that I missed was the trip to Kendal Town. Now everyone talks about Kendal Town as being Kendal McKay. But everyone talks about that as being one of the best trips of the season, which I missed. And it was some game, very high, probably the most high scoring game of the season, 5-3, backwards and forwards. Just a crazy game all round.
Yeah, do you know what, I remember that game? Yeah, it was a nice day as well. Getting to the wintry months. Lovely old ground. Well, yeah, it was just to and fro. I think we were 1-0 down, come back. They equalised us. It was just every time you looked, there was a goal or just there was something happening. And I watched some footage back the other day, and I didn't realise Lewis Buckley's goal, how good it was. And I forgot about it. Where that's Messi or Ronaldo. It's going viral,
It's
isn't
talked
it?
about, isn't it?
Yeah, they took away from the keeper, just chipped it back over. But yeah, that was again we dug in. I think James McClenaghan was he threw two terrible ones in to bring it back to went 3-2 or 3-3, and again we just battled away and churned out the result.
It was 2 late goals from that man Buckley and captain Tom Mitchell to seal that win. Now that game was significant because now we come to our second contender of the Alan Barton Player of the Year, Connor Harwood. Now, Connor Harwood registered his first goal in that game against Kendal. He signed in September, 7 goals from 33 appearances, and especially in the second half of that season, he just came alive and was almost undroppable, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I think he was undroppable, yeah. He's just relentless, isn't he? To be a right back, he'd have to give you nightmares. He's just constantly trying to get at you, inside, outside. Got quality on the ball, works hard. Rightly contended, been brilliant since he got in.
Now, I've noted down one of his key games was the away game against Bury. He didn't score in that game, but he was an absolute menace all game, wasn't he?
We were on the corner, weren't we, first half before we got lynched. But it was all the play was coming down that side, wasn't it? He said, Berkey's not getting the ball at all, but he was just constant, and that we had a great chance, didn't it? Come, I think, from that side where Jake Parker managed to put it off the bar from a yard out. Sorry, Jake.
We love you, Jake. We haven't got a vendetta against you, I promise.
But yeah, no, he was relentless quality that day. I mean, everyone wants to have more quality on that day, mate.
There were a few occasions towards the back end of the season when I didn't even have to ask Mick McGrath about Connor, but he would name check him as being an influential player in that game. Now, that probably says more than his goal return, that the manager's picking him out, even though he's not getting on the score sheet, saying he's been significant in the game.
Massive outlet. Like I say, bag of six and go either way. Doesn't stop running. Any right back, God, not him again.
And I do maintain he must have a chest made of glue, because every ball that gets sent to him, it sticks, doesn't it? And we're straight on the attack. So, well done, Connor. Another contender for our Alan Barton Player of the Year. We'll see how he fares against Lewis Buckley on our next few contenders. So now we move into the darker part of the season, November. Now, November was a bit of a tricky part of the season for Vauxhall. Just 1 win in 4 games, and that was coupled with 2 losses. Scored 6 and conceded 4. Now, I've noted down here a key game, which I believe neither of us were actually at. The home game against Avro. Now, that was probably the first game against a serious contender for this season's league title. Came away with a 2-1 defeat. Lewis Buckley scored in the 92nd minute. At the time, that felt like a hugely significant result.
Yeah, because Avro were up there. I think they were...
They were right on Vauxhall's coattails.
Yeah.
They were.
I think it was Vauxhall's winning shot at the great start, but they were always there or thereabout, nibbling away. I think it was a Friday night game.
I think we played Friday against, or Friday night in December against.
Oh, right, okay.
Paddington.
I don't know why we weren't at that game, the Avro one.
I mean, I have my excuse.
I thought, you know what? I thought the only game I missed was the Paddy Am at home. I might be wrong. I'll have to get Alex to check why I didn't go to that game. But yeah, you don't want to lose. I think you always say against these teams that are going to be up and around you. Before, if you can't win it, don't lose it. And obviously we went at the races that day and 2-0 down. But
And Avro have proved all the way to the final game of the season that they were contenders.
oh yeah, well they're in the playoffs, aren't they? They're not going to find out until they play until tomorrow, I think it is. But yeah, you know, finish second behind out in front of Wythenshawe and Bury. It's no fluke, so you know, just shows what a quality team they are.
So that was the first part of a sticky period in the near Christmas for Vauxhall. We move into December now. Now, there was a point in December, on Boxing Day in fact, we were away at AFC Liverpool at the Marine Travel Arena. Vauxhall took the lead through Bobby McDonald. It was a great finish. And then, well, what else can we say? There was a bit of a collapse.
For 35-40 minutes, I would say that's one of our best performances of the season.
And you've been consistent with that and said that's one of the best 40 minutes.
I don't even think they got in our half. We were just at the races. Strange day to play Boxing Day, you know. I've been there where you have a couple of drinks on Christmas Day, you know what I mean? You're not on 50 grand a week to not have it, you know what I mean? You're with your family and all that, so you were brilliant. 35-40 minutes, and then Matty Collins 3-1 in. It's probably too comfortable for him. He's probably thinking about what he's going to do with the ball before he's got the ball, and it just slipped through his hands. It's, you know, 1-1 at half time. They come out, they got an early goal second half, and you know, until we got a late, I think we got a late one, didn't we, to make it 4-2, but second half we were not at the races at all. We were poor. Matty's been out of position for the fourth one, I think it is, when the lads scored from the touchline. But yeah, it's just so Jekyll and Hyde, them the two halves. Yeah, it was weird.
When I spoke to Mick McGrath at the end of that, he was less than kind about his team's performance, and he said, maybe rightly so, it was arguably the worst performance of the season from the team.
Second half, definitely, yeah. Second half.
It's strange because that felt like we ended the year on such a low note, but we actually had a winning record in December, 2 wins, followed by that loss. It's funny how that game coming at that point of the season can change the mood so significantly. And we'll look back on that as a bit of a turning point in the season.
Oh yeah, it was, yeah, definitely.
So can you believe we've spent all this time talking about such a fantastic season and we've only made it to December? Little did we know what was going to follow.
No, some endings to the season.
So that is the end of part 1 of the Moses Mount podcast season review. Tune in to part 2 when we'll look at January to April, and we've got some nice surprises waiting, would you say, for our viewers. So tune in and we'll see you for the next part.